What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Mike LaBelle. Welcome back to the playbook. If you're new in these parts, it is free to subscribe. And today we have something special to showcase. We're going to work out that build-up play, what separates the good from the great. I have no idea how I'm going to title this video, but I have a lot of clips to break down and explain something that could unlock, make you a better player day in and day out. If you have questions, use the comments. I will be responding. And if you want to share it around, drop a like to the video. I want to talk a lot about build-up play. And in this case, we're talking about the drop-off. Name this what you like. Maybe I'll call it drop shipping, even though it's not a tutorial or a tip video alongside that. We've got opportunity. You got players that are on your mind. This is always the space you kind of want to unlock. But offensive options, they're looking likely. They're looking dangerous. I would say anything in the middle here would be your first option if possible. This man's in a dangerous position. You've got another supporter. You're building some sort of triangle. And then late runners, late game options here on number 4 and number 5. What next? We're looking, spying, determining. Wasn't the best of turns. Once you recovered the ball, you've lost some of your natural spacing. It's more difficult to attack this. The same with even the players inside the box. They're not really open. So you got to do something that pro players, high-end players, elite level players do best. They don't have any shame in their game. They bring it back. They got to recycle, go side to side a little bit. Everyone wants to go forward so quickly. It doesn't work like that. You got to shimmy, you got to shake. You get the entry pass, which as you can see, classic triangle. There's your entry ball, but it's not said and done. Before you hit the top of the box, this has already been decided. This is going to be your target player. He's going to be making a run into the box. When we talk about these dangerous gaps, so by the time I think this is Futra, drops it off to Jude Bellingham, he's looking at this run. That's going to be your delivery, your goodness, your drop shipping, your drop off. Bang, bang. We see this happen all the time. It's one of the best ways to unlock space. And most importantly, it attacks the danger gap. I talk about it time and time again. I will be a broken record anytime you can run into this space. Either side of the pitch, edge of the box, good things are going to happen. Defenders don't react as quickly. You can put a midfielder on your hip. He is track backing, a little step over for the boys. Too little, too late. There's your drop off. And you have enough time to peep this goalkeeper. You can decide if you want to hit the near post or if you want to go across the body. Either way, you have enough time on the ball here with Modric. He's opened up little Trivella for the people. I don't know that goalkeeper movement would have saved you. One more time. Full speed. Hard to break down. Look for the triangle. There it is, the resurface and the dump off. Lovely. Lovely. Master that sequence. What's better than a singular drop shipper? We're going for more. We're double trouble. Davies down the wings, looking, assessing, trying to find anything that he could probe for. A little bit of space here. Kind of a bread and butter zone when you think about spacing. You can see what's already going to happen. The layoff, the Pateas. What does she have? A little bit of a sloppy first touch. Got to be said, or secondary touch. And in this position, I would say option 1 and option 2 are kind of out of the picture. I don't know how you're going to get it to them. You've got a double team that you're trying to beat, and there's no angle. You could potentially try a 360 no scope type of lob or cross or no look pass, but I wouldn't recommend it. Therefore, that tells me you got to go here or you got to go here. Open up some space, get you a little bit of a recycle because we want to support the environment. There it is. Hugo Sanchez, you can see him triggering a run. This player right here is being triggered into this gap of space. And that leads for the perfect drop off or drop shift or the little layoff. Here it is, little touch pass. Mbappe finishes. Learn that touch pass and learn to love that touch pass. It makes a world of a difference. Negatives often equal positives. That's what I want to showcase in this next sequence. You got to go side to side. It's going to be a theme today. Mia Hamm assessing again. There it is. That is our first back pass, and that's mainly to make sure you're lining up your options. Who's best suited to do the job here? What do you have available? You can go side to side. You've got overlapping runs. I don't love them. You can call this man short. You might be able to get some penetration. These are always the guys that you're aiming for, that triangle of doom when you're looking at your front three. Well, we got Hugo goes back. Okay, that's our second back pass in this sequence. Varane still assessing side to side. Third negative pass. And the idea of the strategy behind this, can you pull these players out of position? Because you don't need a big misstep, but anything that's going one way or the other, it gives you a gap. And then once you make that entry pass, you can go with the skill moves, the cancellations, the tiki-taka, the move, the groove, the turn, the burn. And it makes more sense. Logically, it makes sense probability-wise. Modric, we've got space to work with. You see the run. it's being triggered. So now you have two options that are clear on the offense. Sometimes you can lean on option 2 where you almost purposely look at somebody that's wide open, and then you can hit option 1, which is what happens in this sequence. Mbappe, the more dangerous of the players. Can he turn? He does. A little step over for the people. And we're going to go with one more across the body pass right here. Again, your options pretty strong between the two. Even if somehow this guy scoots in many of these circumstances, these outside the box players will also be supporters inside the box. You just got to put it into the mixer. Love it or hate it, it's part of the game. There's your layoff. Mia Hamm, a lot of time to work with. Goalkeeper movement does not matter. But it took a multiple of side to side and negative passes to align this up perfectly. After the step over, I also can appreciate the right pass because this man here drags out a defender, as you can see. But by doing that, it leaves a lane for Mia Hamm. Oh, easy cooking. I'm guilty of this. I don't know if I'd call it a guilty pleasure, but we're talking about sideline overload. You send players on runs. And the idea or the concept, how many good offensive players can you put into a position? And in this case, we're going to play a little bit of triangle ball in order to beat the defense or pull out the midfield. And especially if you have one side of the pitch that is more offensively gifted. Often we've seen with a tactical approach, maybe your left side, everyone stays back. Your right side, they really push that overlap heavily. You're trying to overrun and take advantage of where you have your best offensive players and still have a chase back on the other end of the pitch. Here we go. You see the runners and you see the spacing. What's happened here? 1, 2, 3. And if you get the ball centrally, even better. I always look at, is it possible to get the ball to Mbappe? Is it possible to get the ball to, I don't think that's Haaland, but I want to say that there's going to be an appearance from Haaland at some point here. Someone's coming on a back post. But either way, these guys aren't open yet. There's your entry ball. Now we're back to that triangle play. The simplicity that we love. These guys are going to dabble in the dark arts of the dirty triangle. And all down the sideline. Who's open? 1, 2. Can you attack? A little turn. Quick turn. Ironically, the defenders are now in a bit of a triangle, which is not always what you want to see. No one's really closed in on the ball. And there's a player sitting in front of that triangle, which in this case ends up being a little bit more of a dummy run. If anything, you've got your back post. You're going to see this re-angled into a beautiful cross. I think it's Cancelo chasing back. Never had a chance. Haaland, big body. Yes, sir. You score those goals. Overload, override, push one side of the pitch, take advantage. And if you're playing down the sidelines or down the end lines, worst case scenario, you lose the ball for maybe a throw in. Full speed. Here we go. Inside pass. Back to the man out wide. He's looking for help. Finds the dummy pass. You see the player switching there, and Haaland, right spot, right time. At this point, the offense knew they had the advantage because the player switch is a midfielder, which says that he's going to be trying to track back or potentially make a tackle that's not going to be existent because we're hitting that back post and climbing that ladder. Goalkeeper usage is definitely prevalent. It's relevant. This is going to be total football. There's some game management. I'm not saying that I'm promoting this in all circumstances, but there's definitely value to being able to utilize and take advantage of the goalkeeper in many circumstances. But if you're trying to hold the ball, often what happens, and I can't stress this enough, in a situation where you're using the goalkeeper, you should and need to be looking at this radar because it'll tell you from the goalkeeper's position, is someone wide open? And in this case, not necessarily going to be the situation. It's more about making sure your offensive players are at least onside, give them a chance to win a 1v1, and then allows you to break. But when I'm building up, I'll use the goalkeeper, and then you have your fullbacks hugging those sidelines as a free pass. If somebody chooses to pressure the goalkeeper, I can pinpoint one of the defenders. I can make that happen. The only exception to the rule is if your opposition is truly in some sort of all-out pressure where they're going to risk it for the biscuit, late game material. So here you go. You're bringing out players. The goalkeeper is assessing, and I'm telling you, as he's assessing, I guarantee right here is what's being looked at. What's happening with the goalkeeper. And before he unloads, he drags players out of position oh so perfectly. So now you've created, I would say, 3 1v1 type of scenarios. If anything, I really want to aim for number 1 or number 2. They seem like the safest of the scenarios, the easiest counterattacks. If you win one of those 50-50s, one of those headers, you have yourself on an outlet and tons of space. Look at this. Look at the space you can work with. Understood? So he's going to lob it to number 2 in this circumstance. Takes it down, knocked down, and there's the space. If anything, it opened up down central. But either way, you get what we're going with. Leads you with a lot of options. Little burner there. Outside of the boot. GG's. Wrap this game up. And that's where we wrap this video up. Let me know if you have any thoughts or questions. I really wanted to showcase a few different ways of making these extra passes in your build-up. Not necessarily holding the ball, but the patience that is involved at the higher levels. And not being fearful or not being scared to go backwards or go side to side before going forwards. Because it's all about maneuvering and mispositioning the opposition's midfielders and defenders. If they're shaking and baking, they're not aligned, they're not in synergy, you got space to work with. You're going to create good opportunities constantly. And it's the difference between often winning 10 games and 15 games or 15 games and 20 games. Could be a mix of course, your intangibles and your mechanics, but also your situationals, your sequences. If you found it helpful, make sure to subscribe, and I have a lot more content coming out ASAP.